Welcome to the annual Mayor's State of the City address. Would you please rise with Randy Fury in singing our national anthem? Join me.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command. With glowing hearts we see thee rise, the true north strong and free. From far and wide, O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Thank you. I call upon the President of the Medicine Kiwanis Club, Ken Murdoch, for the invocation, please.
They only give me one job, so I'll try not to screw it up. What makes this city great is not everyone thinks alike, but diversity of its people. We are gathered today, both religious and secular members of our community, with the shared belief that we must treat each other with dignity and respect. In this invocation, I don't ask you to bow your heads, but to look at what you can accomplish by working together. I don't ask you to close your eyes, but keep them open wide to the problems we face as a city. With your talents and insights, you can lead the community to a better future. As you work together on behalf of all who live in the city, may you draw strength and encouragement from one another through compassion and reason. Remember, being a member of the majority doesn't necessarily make you right, just part of the group that thinks alike. Now bless this food to our use and us to your service. Amen.
Please be seated. My name's Ron Holmes. I'm your MC for this event. And on behalf of the Medicinenet Chamber of Commerce and the Medicinenet Kiwanis Club, I welcome you. In a moment or two, I'll be giving you instructions on how you might receive your luncheon.
It is wonderful and so humbling to see so many people here today. I think this may be a record for this event. I know they sold out and added tickets and it's sold out again. And I want to thank each and every one of you for turning up, showing up. And obviously you must care about this city that we all love so dearly. And you probably want to stay as informed as possible. And I am truly humbled and feel blessed to be here today, especially since we're not just coming off an election or going into a municipal election year, but this is a midterm and you're all still here. That wasn't even a joke. And I'm looking out at this crowd and I'm seeing all this sea of faces. We were just talking at the table about the sea of faces. And it reminds me of my early days with the City of Medicinenet. I actually worked for the City of Medicinenet 30 years ago as a lifeguard. And when I lifeguarded at Echodale Lake, it was a very, very popular swimming place. And all I could see when I was on my lifeguard chair was a sea of faces. And I used to just sit there. I was only 18, 19 years old, and I would sit and pray, please nobody drown on my shift. Just don't drown on my shift. You can drown on somebody else's, but not on mine. And I almost feel that way today, that I look at this sea, I'm in charge and the mayor of a wonderful city, and I just don't, I worry about screwing stuff up and ruining the city. But anyway, as you said, you had one job. It was really nice to meet most of you at the door, and I always recognize so many of you, you're community leaders yourselves. Some of you are unsung heroes. I mean, the city council and myself get all the attention. A lot of you give as much time back to this community as myself and the rest of city council. Today I'm going to try to slow down the pace. Some of you may have noticed that oftentimes I end up running out of time and I'm going through slides at 100 miles an hour. But I'm going to hopefully just try to focus on economic development today. It's been a very, very interesting year last year in the City of Medicine Hat. And economic development does happen to be City Council's ranked number one strategic priority. So this is your City Council. Many of them are here today, and as this is the mayor's state of the city, it's often I get a lot of attention, but really I have a team of 8 councilors, and we work together, and I can't do anything on my own. And I really have enjoyed this council. This is my 4th council, and I'm starting to get a little long on the tooth around here, almost as long as Councillor Dumanowski. But each council is very different and unique, and I really have, this new one has really grown on me since in the last year. They are a diverse group, and they are ready to roll up their sleeves and work hard for you, just like the previous council. And then they have proven to be, they're not afraid to pick up where the last council left off and continue the hard work of moving this city forward. In the last year, council, as mayor and the council are obviously the face of the community, and we are very, very recognizable. But it's really our senior administration that carries out the will and the direction of City Council. And while council does do governance and direction of the ship, it is really this group here, my senior executive, that make the ship go. They do the heavy lifting. As some of you are probably aware, we made a major change this year, or we hired a new CAO, and Bob, maybe you'd like to stand up, have your pictures up there, but this is our new CAO, Bob. He's really only council's really, with about 1,300 employees at City of Medicine Hat, but he's really council's only employee. And Bob has actually already put his stamp on the organization in 4 short months. Many of you maybe know him as a CAO of the city in the 90s, but he has returned and he's excited for this new chapter in his life. And I encourage you all to meet him. He is an active listener, and he is trying to learn as much as he possibly can about the city. And he has proven his willingness to meet basically anyone, anywhere, anytime about anything. And he's really got, in the 4 months, he's really got to know the community again. And I also do appreciate his new fresh eyes. Sometimes we just get into a way of doing things, and you ask me why we're doing it. Well, that's because of the way we've always done it. And it's nice to have a set of fresh eyes. Bob was recently CAO of Grand Prairie, and he's brought with him some interesting ideas and frankly, some candor, which I really appreciate. Karen, you don't know this is probably coming up. Yeah, Karen. Karen, this is the year we say goodbye to Karen Chariton, actually. She has been with the City of Medicine Hat for 41 years. She has been... She is actually my longest serving commissioner on City Council, and she likes to say that she's had 13 councils, but her favorite mayor is always named Ted. But I don't know which Ted. She's a commissioner of public services. So if you're wondering what that is, that's basically anything that starts with a P. Pool, parks, paths, playgrounds, not the police. She does fire services, senior services, transits, and it is arguably one of the most difficult portfolios in the entire organization. As in public services, you can never make everybody happy. The water at the FLC is always too cold, or it's always too warm. There's too many dandelions in the grass, and our paths have grass growing beside them. Imagine that. But this past year has been extremely difficult for her, but she never let it get in the way of her work, and she showed up every day with a stoic upper lip and carried on. I really appreciate that. I also appreciated her candor with me. I would often plunk myself down in her office and tell her my tale of woe, and she'd calmly say, "Suck it up, Buttercup," and I'd move on. I'd bounce ideas off of her, and she always gave me her honest advice, whether it was career limiting or not. And while many people see the world in black and white, she always could see the depth of gray. So thank you, Karen, on behalf of City Council. I do have a few requests, though, of you. Please keep Medicine Hat as your home. Spin that defined benefit pension plan inside the city. And don't start writing into TikTok Tickle Pink. So in my first term as mayor, I was always up here talking about the latest capital project that the city was working on and giving updates into the project progress of various projects. And those were actually some very exciting times. And the amount of work that was done by the previous councils and the entire organization was frankly unprecedented. In this term, I have tried to signal that Medicine Hat, whether you believe it or not, we really want for nothing. We don't really need anything. We are the envy of many, many other communities. And the only thing we'll be doing is continuous maintenance of infrastructure like roads and sewers. But, last term was the sexy stuff. this term as well, whatever, if you can think of a word. But I thought I might just quickly highlight some of the accomplishments in the last 5 years. And my hope was, and I think Council's hope was, in the last term, and even the term before that, was that we would make Medicine Hat a community of choice by investing in all of the infrastructure. A place that you would want to live, work, and play, that you felt safe in, and that you could enjoy world-class amenities in a city of 63,000 people. And I'll just give you an example. The Aurora deal was arguably one of the most interesting negotiations, times, parts of my life, and I'm sure everyone involved, looking at the table here, some of them were involved. I'll introduce the new manager of Aurora later. And how did we get Aurora here in the last year? Well, it started very simply. It started with a letter that was written by Invest Medicine Hat with my signature on it, basically on our hands and knees, begging them to come and take a look at Medicine Hat. It was old-fashioned cold calling. That's what it was. And reluctantly, I think Aurora decided they would come take a look at Medicine Hat. And so they just, well, we'll appease Medicine Hat. And they sent one guy. His name was Joel, and he was a very interesting character. And when Joel first got here, we were touring him around. And the first question that Joel asked me, and maybe some of the rest of the Invest Medicine Hat, was not, what is your electricity price? Not what your gas prices is, not what are your land prices. He asked me, and this is the truth, he asked me, what can my employees do in Medicine Hat? Will they enjoy living and working here? And we immediately clicked on, and we toured them around all of the new capital infrastructure facilities we've built, the event center, leisure center, and all those things. And then a few months later, he came back with a larger ensemble, and then again came back with a larger ensemble, until at one point there were 30 of us in the room at the Esplanade, and we basically hammered out a deal that he took to, well, the CEO took to the board of directors, and everybody, it wasn't just myself and city council, it was senior staff, it was Invest Medicine Hat, it was Aurora, the CEO, we all worked very hard on that, and then they came. So what I was hoping that we did in this last term is we created the environment in Medicine Hat that will attract opportunities for the future. And I have teenage boys. And why I hope they get out of my house and leave Medicine Hat someday and see some of the world. I want them to come back here. And I think most of you with children do as well. And you want them to come back. And the only reason they're going to ever come back is because of industry and jobs and opportunity. So just a quick, the Berms, was the Berms. I actually get asked a lot of times, what is your legacy? And you really shouldn't be getting into politics for a legacy. However, it seems to happen. And event center I championed, and council championed, and FLC expansions and fire stations. But I really do think that at someday, these berms, which we went ahead without the province, we basically snubbed the province and said, we're doing it without you because we can't wait for you because it's too important to our citizens and their safety. And it may not be this year, and it may not be 5 years, and it may be my grandchildren that go, you know what, I think Grandpa and City Council today built those, and that could well be our most important legacy, even though they're not that sexy, but they've become quite actually a recreational feature. The Canalta Center, we all built. We just landed U17, and Brian Varga, Councillor Varga, is on the Sports and Event Council, and Hockey Canada was here. They honestly couldn't believe they were in a city of 62,000 people with that facility. We built not one, but 2 fire stations. Who builds 2 fire stations in a term? But we did, and they're beautiful, and they serve the city better without having to increase our operational costs. FLC we opened last term, which is what we helped to use to attract Aurora, and as well the much anticipated and long awaited senior center, which is arguably, and I can stand here and say that arguably the nicest and municipally run senior center in the entire country. And we took a lot of grief over that, but we got it done. So that's a little bit of a history, what we did now. Hopefully that has paid off, and now we're talking about economic development. And I think that's really what most of the people in this room are quite interested in. And so now that the city is done investing in municipal and capital infrastructure, it's my hope, and it's starting to happen, that the private sector starts investing in capital construction, and you're seeing it. There's over $1 billion worth of new private sector capital construction being announced in this region. And make no mistake, governments do not create wealth. Although There are some levels of government that you can spend your way and hire public employees. That does not create wealth. Private sector industry creates wealth. It has to pay for the public sector. And so we need to have private sector come in behind the public sector. Of course, we need a more updated photo, but that's the Aurora site. It's just massive. 1.2 million, 1.5 million square feet. I'd like to introduce the new general manager who just flew in today down from Edmonton. He's here. Bernard McGillivray, yes. And he's hiring. He's hiring right now. So if you need a job. I toured the facility in Leduc, and it's unbelievable. Everything maybe you remember last year I was hinting that there was a new major announcement coming, a couple new, and I couldn't talk about them. And my competitor who ran against me said we should be attracting these types of facilities, and I had to keep my mouth shut because I signed a non-confidential or non-disclosure agreements. And anyway, everything you know about greenhouses, forget. This is not a greenhouse. This is a pharmaceutical facility. It is white, it is clean, it is lab coats, it is cover your head booties, it's security, it is automated, it's robotic. The humans don't have to do heavy labor. The humans do at the end and they pick the buds. And it is temperature controlled, it's air conditioned, it's everything you know about, forget. And it is going to be a world-class facility, and it is actually starting to come out of the ground right now. And we are so excited to have Aurora here in Medicine Hat, so thank you. The mall continued on with expansion, renovations after what people thought was perhaps a devastating blow when losing some of their major tenants, and they have rebounded. And when people think that retail is dying, yet our retail in Medicine Hat is expanding. The new Flying J, just something else. The Seymour Apartments, these are the largest apartment buildings I think have ever been built in the city of Medicine Hat, and are under construction right now. They're massive. If you go to St. John Paul School, it is just overshadowing that school. It's just massive, and people are investing in the city, and I honestly don't always know why. Is it patient capital? Is it people bullish on Medicine Hat? This is a lot of outside money recognizing the opportunities here in Medicine Hat. Co-op has been a great community partner. If you drive in the south, just drive in the south if you haven't gone in the south of Medicine Hat, with the new Brown Social House, the new Boston Pizza, the Canalta Group, the co-op, the new car dealership, the Save on Foods. We haven't seen this much of private sector retail investment since 2006, 2007, when the Walmart and Canadian Tire expansions or relocations happened. And co-op as well is a great community partner. The Best Western under construction. We are, up until the Canalta Hotel opened a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, in the Box Springs Business Park. Our newest hotel in Medicine Hat was 10 years old, and now there are 4 or 5 of them, and I can't even keep track of how many are under construction or proposed. And another one, the Marriott, is under construction as well. And Save on Food should be open fairly soon. And then I want to... This one, if ever you get a chance to drive by Gershaw Drive, the law office here, this is a picture is a little dated because they've got the brick on the front, at least the front now, on an old, what we call brownfield site. I used to walk across this site on my way to Hat High School, every day on my way to school, just walk across this site. And now they're building, and they're not sparing expense here. Beautiful red brick, limestone. I'm really thankful, and they're here today too as well. Thank you for investing in Medicine Hat and taking a chance. Hut 8, Bitcoin mining. This is the most misunderstood new business in Medicine Hat by a factor of a million. Blockchain technology. They are the largest single user of electricity in Medicine Hat, bar none. If you get, I did see somebody from Hut 8. I think Etchem's here today. If you ever get an opportunity to tour this facility, it is unbelievable. These are not just sea cans. These are servers calculating in the petaflops, not giga, not tera, but petaflops. It's unbelievable what's going on there. The actual wind that comes off the back of these servers. Imagine your server on your desktop computer has a little fan. Well, imagine a million of them blowing. and just whizzing and buzzing, and it's just calculating and mining Bitcoin. And a lot of people don't understand this. So they send posts on Chris Somraj's Facebook page, keep checking the power bill. Hut 8 is releasing staff. And I put this up here because I can't believe we're having these successes, and there's people that are hoping that things will fail, that new businesses will fail. And there's people, I hear that people blame, used to be blame Ted. Well, now if your power goes out, you blame Hut 8. Well, no, it's not Hut 8's fault if a tree takes down a line in Southridge. And no, it's not Hut 8's fault if a gopher gets into a substation in Parkview and fries himself. Now, while it may be inconvenience to you to lose your power, you know, the gopher was all in. But Hut 8's, it's not Hut 8's fault. And the city of Medicine Hat does not own shares in Hut 8. The city of Medicine Hat is not invested in Hut 8. I hear things like Ponzi scheme. The mayor's a moron. He bought into a Ponzi scheme. He doesn't understand Bitcoin. It'll be gone. The Hut 8 is an electricity customer of the city of Medicine Hat, no different than Methanex, Canadian Fertilizer, or any of you at your houses. If Hut 8 goes away, which I pray they don't, but if they go away, it doesn't affect the city of Medicine Hat in any way. We will sell that electricity on the grid or to a new customer. We are not invested in it. So I don't know why, but it's people fear what they don't understand and say things like this. And yes, they are paying their power bill. And I'm just going to put this in a little bit of perspective. They're paying their power bill. And so in April, the entire city of Medicine Hat, what we call the shoulder seasons, the entire city of Medicine Hat is maybe using 60 or 70 megawatts. And when I say the entire city, I mean Redcliffe, the entire city, the mall, the street lights, your computers, your furnace, your air conditioner. The entire community is using 60 or 70 megawatts. That's what these guys are, that's what they're pulling on an average day. So it's just astronomical, the type of power that they're pulling. And so talk about economic development. And while we're reading about other cities losing major industries, not only have we not lost a major industry in Medicine Hat, we gained Methanex back a little while ago, but we've added these two other major ones. And I'm getting a little frustrated because there's an election on the other levels of government going on, and some of the other levels of government taking credit for what's happening in Medicine Hat. The other levels of government had nothing to do with these companies coming to Medicine Hat. In fact, they stood in the way and were an obstacle with carbon taxes and minimum wages. The city of Medicine Hat attracted these on our own. And anybody who tries to take credit for this is campaigning and electioneering. And it actually infuriates me, but I'll stay away from that because my council told me to be positive. So, trending topics. Financially fit, you're hearing a lot about that. Just to put in perspective, people keep telling me the Medicine Hat, you read it every day, the Medicine Hat advantage is gone. There isn't any utility rate advantage, no property tax advantage. But what people forget is that we still have the lowest combined property taxes and utilities, and we still have some of the highest, if not highest, amenities and service levels of any community in Alberta. And we found this slide kind of interesting. We were talking about this $24 million gap because we're not making any more money in electricity anymore. If Medicine Hat raised our taxes and utilities to the price of Lethbridge's, we'd be making another $16 million. We took it to the Leduc, 32, and we took it to, is that Edmonton at the end? $53 million if we just were comparable to the other communities. So don't tell me there isn't a Medicine Hat advantage. And I have empirical proof because Aurora came here after the amenities, but because of the price of electricity, gas, and property taxes and land. So you can deny it all you like. And I'll talk about Hut 8 again one more time. Our power plant that we just invested in, if you don't think Hut 8 has been a positive influence, and that new power plant's been a positive influence, that power plant barely made a profit a couple of years ago. It could make $40 to $50 to $60 million this year. The entire property tax revenue of the entire municipality is about $72 million. These power deals are material and transformational. And as well, we're not just trying to raise taxes, okay, but we're trying to get more grants, utilities, changing service levels, user fees, cost containment. And one thing that isn't on there is revenue increase. We don't talk, I think, enough about perhaps growing the tax base. There's a source of revenue versus having to raise other things or cut services. And so we're trying to do that as well. So anybody know what this, so I'm going to do some, so anybody was at the Robbie Berms dinner on Saturday night? I stole the Berms president's idea because I thought it was funny. Does anybody know what these acronyms stand for? CAVE, Citizens Against Virtually Everything. I can't believe you built a fire hall in my neighborhood. Okay, we won't build it in your neighborhood. Well, I can't believe you don't care if my house burns down. Oh, okay. Everybody knows this one? Not in my backyard. Not in my front yard either. And please put it in somebody else's backyard. Oh, it's trending supervised consumption sites. So first of all, they are a supervised consumption site. A lot of people are still calling them safe injection sites. There's nothing safe about doing drugs or injecting drugs. So they are supervised consumption sites. And I'm a little bit frustrated here because the city council and myself are taking a lot of heat on this. And if I had an email or $1 for every email I got from citizens right now that said, I'm not against supervised consumption sites, I just don't want it near my house. So what are we supposed to put it? And listen, I get it. I get it. The city council gets it. Nobody wants one of these near their house or business. And I'm not even going to wade into the argument as whether or not these should even exist. This was a decision by the federal and provincial governments that to put this in the city of Medicine Hat and in Red Deer and Grand Prairie and Vancouver and wherever else. And if you are unhappy about this, talk to your NDP MLA or HIV Community League or AHS. I am not responsible for this, and neither is my city council. This was forced upon us by the provincial government. And if city council, believe me, it tried to resist this by changing the land use bylaw and prevent this type of facility, the government of Alberta or the Minister of Health would have stepped in and plunked it wherever they liked. And because I serve at their leisure. Municipalities serve at the provincial government's leisure. And they just go ahead. Red Deer tried to block it, and they got one as well. And I even saw someone post on my Facebook page, the mayor is a liar. They banned strip clubs in Medicine Hat, so why can't he or she ban supervised consumption sites? Well, last time I checked, the province of Alberta isn't in the strip club business, so I don't know if I can ban it. And if you don't believe me, there's an old saying that says follow the money, and the city of Medicine Hat is not investing a dime into this. There's millions of dollars going into this site, both in capital improvements and operating. And my only suggestion for you is if you disagree with this, I'm not trying to get in, if you disagree with this, you vote for a party in the next provincial election that maybe has a chance of cutting the operating funding for one of these. But in the last 11 years I've been in this, nothing has irked me more than being blamed for this. And I'll tell you right now, if I cut the snow removal budget or city council cuts your snow removal budget and it takes 48 hours for the snow to get cleared versus 24, I'll own it. I will own that, and I'll try to explain to you why we had to cut the snow removal budget. Or if city council cuts and closes Heald Pool in Riverside, and I get a letter from a 6-year-old girl that says, Mr. Mayor, I don't like you, and I'm mad at you because you closed my pool. And it's absolutely heartbreaking when something like that happens, because I didn't get into this job to break a 6-year-old heart. But what I don't want is that to take ownership of this, the supervised consumption site. This is a provincial issue, and you need to talk to your MLA if you're not happy about it. And I think back to a mentor of mine who once said, you know, as the mayor, you need to become, over time you can get pretty bitter and jaded, but you actually need to become kinder and more humble with time, whether you're with Popper or with King. So I am trying to be sympathetic to the people that this has happened to and has been plunked in their neighborhood, but if you think that there's a better location, I challenge everybody in this room. I'm going to give you 3 criteria that you have to follow. A, you have to find, you have to accept the fact that this is coming to Medicine Hat. You have no control over it. B, you must accept the fact that it is going to be in the downtown proper. That's just where it has to be, and that's the rule. And C, the location must be suitable and available. By that I mean it has to be about 5,000 square feet or larger, and it has to be vacant or soon to be vacant. So if anybody in this room can suggest a better place in the downtown that meets those 3 criteria, I'm all ears, but I don't think you'll be able to come up with one. This is the best of the worst of the worst of the best, however you want to look at it, okay? Enough said. CCDA, another trending topic. You saw council, maybe if some of you follow. We spent 45 minutes, it reminds me of my old Kinsman days when we spent $500,000 to build a leisure center in 2 minutes and then got into a fist fight over whether to buy erasers from Canadian Tire or Sears or whatever for 10 cents. And we spent $60 million in about 5 minutes on capital construction projects and 45 minutes on a $25,000 item. But just so you know, and the council's exhausted at the end of the day and when we're making these decisions, but they did take even that $25,000 of your money very seriously and spent 45 minutes and came up with a decision to keep funding the CCDA. Dr. McDreamy, or Steamy. So I want to put things in perspective. So right now we're dealing with supervised consumption sites and CCDA and council pay raises and all those things that are trending right now. But 5 years ago, when I was on this stage, the number one concern of the citizens of Medicine Hat was not supervised consumption site, it was the lack of a family doctor. In the last 5-6 years, we've recruited 25 new family doctors. You couldn't get one 5 years ago. Anybody in this room that doesn't have a family doctor can now have a family doctor. They are taking patients. And one of the ways we were able to attract these new doctors is begging them, not unlike Aurora, but showing them the facilities that we have in the city of Medicine Hat and saying, you can come move here. They were choosing between Red Deer, Lethbridge, and they chose Medicine Hat because of what we had here. So I'm just putting that in perspective. In 5 years from now, who knows what we'll be talking about. So last year I was standing here and I said, I wish I could tell you about a major new announcement. I'm not going to talk about the election. Just get out and vote. I said, I wish I could tell you, but I've signed non-disclosure agreements. Trust me, there's some new industry coming to town. I'm sure a lot of you are like, there's a politician up there making promises that he can't keep or deliver. And I was so wanted to tell you last year about Aurora and Hut 8 coming. And they were announced just months right after the State of the City speech. And so today, I would like to tell you about a major new announcement that's coming to Medicine Hat, but I gotta wait. No, I don't. I would like to introduce Cash, came in from Colorado Springs last night. He is moving his first foray into Canada. He's coming to Medicine Hat, and I've asked him to just come up and explain quickly what he does versus me butchering it. And I'll let him explain and see what just a minute or two. So this is the name of his company. If you get a chance, go check out his website. It's quite, it's fantastic and slick. And Cash, if...
Thank you.
Oh, you don't need that.
Good afternoon, everybody. So before I say a little bit about us, I just want to say a couple of things about, first of all, I thought I was coming here to learn more about the economic opportunities in Medicine Hat. It's obviously Ted's attempt to discourage everybody from becoming mayor. You're universally hated by 6-year-olds, and you have to shut down the strip clubs, and you're a moron. So, but in reality, I'm super excited to be here. I want to quickly thank Ted, thank Sandra and Lisa and Ryan, who were integral in attracting us to come to Medicine Hat. And Ted earlier had mentioned about politicians and their legacy. And he said that he didn't think legacy was the right word, but I do think a word that's appropriate is stewardship, right? So responsibility. He's the steward for your community in the role that he holds. And I have to tell you that the folks that I just mentioned are excellent ambassadors for your community. Because one of the things that I always look for in our business is, are these people, we're a relationship-driven company. So are these people that we want to work with, that we want to embed ourselves in, and we had just a phenomenal experience in exploring this area for our business. So I want to just take a moment to acknowledge that and thank them for their efforts in bringing us here. Yeah. In regards to who we are, this is kind of a theme, parallels Aurora. I think that with Aurora coming in kind of from the THC side of the business, we're on the non-psychoactive side of the business. So we're the largest vertically integrated non-psychoactive cannabis molecule extraction company in the United States. We currently employ about 250 people in Colorado. We'll grow to about 500 people by year end in the States. We are putting two facilities here into Medicine Hat, a 110,000 square foot extraction and purification plant. We'll be hiring technicians, chemical engineers, a lot of high-paying jobs there. And then we're putting in a finished manufacturing plant as well. So we currently ship products from Colorado to 32 countries where our products are approved. Our intention with the Canadian facility is for that facility to service the domestic market here in Canada, as well as our distribution partners in Latin America. I want to say one thing though. I think when you look at it from a visionary perspective, the real opportunity for Medicine Hat is for you to become the nexus of this greenfield opportunity that is cannabis, right? With Aurora's presence and ours, you really will see, I think, an opportunity for Medicine Hat to some extent become a global leader in this new space. I think that as we move forward, drug therapies in the next 10, 20 years will be developed from these molecules that will touch every aspect of our lives. Today, our products run the gamut from human wellness to cosmetics to animal health. So we'll continue to see that expansion. We expect our facility to come online here next year, Q1 of 2020. And so we'll be breaking ground, I think, in the next quarter or so after we get all the permits and plans put in place. So we're very excited to be here. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. So.
I remember when, can you turn me back? Yeah. I remember when we used to get excited about, announcing maybe 25 jobs. I was saying this to Ryan Jackson the other day. Now I don't get out of bed unless we're announcing 200 or more. I'm always hard on the Medicine Hat News. Today I'm not going to be. I'm going to give them credit where credit is due. Usually the story of the year is something bad news, something terrible, something about me. And this year they recognized that they didn't want to do a bad news story, they did a good news story, and they named this one of the news stories of the year. So I thank Medicine Hat News for doing that. And I'm going to say, last year I said we want for nothing. And now I'm going to say that if you are able-bodied and willing to work in Medicine Hat, you can have a job. You can have a job here. Anybody guess what this is? Captain. So today I'm going to finish with a poem. This is tradition at this event. And I'm going to do Captain, My Captain. Except Captain, My Captain is not about the captain of a ship. Captain of My Captain is a poem written by Walt Whitman about Abraham Lincoln and the Civil War. And what happened was that he wrote the poem about how great the captain was, Abraham Lincoln, how horrible the war was, which was the voyage or the journey in the poem, and how devastating and how great it was when it was finally over for the ship. And the ship would be the United States of America. But this poem can be, it's a metaphor, obviously, and so it doesn't really talking about a ship and a captain. It's talking about perseverance and getting through, but at the unfortunate cost of the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. But it can be applied to any business where you're struggling and you're trying to make a go of it and you're facing tough times, but you persevere and perhaps even you lose your captain over it. But I will do Captain, My Captain. I haven't done this poem for 3 years in public, so I hope I can get through it because it's a little touches me in the heart. Oh, Captain, my Captain, our fearful trip is done. The ship has weathered every rack. The prize we sought is won. The port is near, the bells I hear, the people all exulting, while follow eyes the steady keel. Vessel, grim and daring. But oh, heart, 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 the bleeding drops of red, for on the deck my captain lies, fallen, cold and dead. Oh, Captain, my Captain, rise up and hear the bells. Rise up, for you the flag is flung, for you the bugle trills, for you banquets and ribboned wreaths, for you the shores are crowding, for you they call the swaying masses. their eager faces turning. Oh, Captain, dear father, this arm beneath your head. It is some dream that on the deck you've fallen cold and dead. My captain does not answer. His lips are pale and still. My father does not feel my arm. He has no pulse nor will. The ship is anchored safe and sound, the voyage closed and done. From fearful trip, the victor ship comes in with object won. Exalt all shores and ring all bells. But I, with mournful tread, walk the deck my captain lies, fallen cold and dead. Thank you.
So on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, I'd like to extend my many thanks to each and every one of you for supporting this annual event. It's great to see such a wonderful turnout. We've heard some pretty awesome news here today, so that's exciting to have been a part of this. And we'd also like to thank the Kiwanis Club for providing us the opportunity to work with them. With the continued support of our members and engaged business community, the Chamber is committed to supporting and encouraging a strengthened, vibrant economy in our region through our connection, support, and influence. The successes we have heard today serve as an example of what we can do and what a strong business community can do. As a member-driven organization, our priorities are shaped by the issues of our members bring to us, and are shaped by the priorities the members bring to us, and we use our collaborative voice to benefit not only our members, but our community and the business community as a whole. This event in particular allows us to connect our business community to our city and hear about the successes, opportunities, and challenges helping us shape the priorities of the coming year. So we want to let you know we are hosting a few events coming up. Our energy efficiency lunch. We have a business before 9, and we will also be hosting our Sunshine Spring and Garden Show. You can check our website for details and dates and more information on that. And at this time, on behalf of the Board of Directors and our members, I'd like to thank Mayor Clugston for taking the time to speak with us today and present him with a token of our appreciation, a donation made in his name to his chosen charity, Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
As the president of Kiwanis, I get to do the same thing. I agree with everything that Sarah said, so instead of regurgitating, we'll just go on with what I have to thank. Again, thank everybody for being here and attending, the mayor for his presentation, the chamber for their participation in this event, and for Ron for officiating. It was a little bit of a tough job. I'd like to take this opportunity to promote our Grapes and Gourmet Gala. This event's been sponsored by the Pritchard and Company law firm for the last 13 years. Each year a charity is selected, and this year 2/3 of the proceeds will be going to the Southeastern Alberta Sexual Assault Response Committee, and a third comes to our Kiwanis Club. This is a major fundraiser for our Kiwanis Club, and we'd appreciate your help. On your tables, we've got some posters. Please put them up where you can, and silent auctions would be appreciated. We're one of 3 Kiwanis clubs in Medicine Hat. If you're interested in joining a Kiwanis club, look us up on the website, or we've got the brochures on your table. And again, as Ted, we've got a small token of our appreciation, another check for Big Brothers and Big Sisters.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for attending our State of the City address. We'll stand now for the Queen.
God save our gracious Queen, long live our noble Queen. God save the Queen. Send her victorious happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God